Welcome to Design Stand-Up, episode 27, A Comprehensive Guide to UX Research, Part 2, by Christopher Murphy of Smashing Magazine. And I'm your host, Ryan Stone, reading to you every Tuesday and Thursday from the best blogs in the design industry, with their permission, of course. It's kind of like a free ongoing audiobook, always being updated with new content from your favorite designers. Whether you are a seasoned design professional or simply a design enthusiast, I am on a mission to help grow your knowledge in all things digital design. And before we get to today's post, I have a question for you. Do you like free stickers? I know you do, because come on, who doesn't love a good sticker? Well, I just got an order of 50 fresh new stickers from Sticker Mule, and I'll tell you what, if you head over to iTunes or Google Podcasts right now and leave a short rating or review, I will send you some awesome Design Stand-Up sticker swag on the house. So without further ado, let's stand up. A Comprehensive Guide to UX Research, Part 2, by Christopher Murphy of Smashing Magazine. Qualitative Research Method Number 2, Contextual Inquiry. A contextual inquiry is a form of ethnographic interview where users are observed and questioned in their own environment to try to determine their approach towards specific tasks. A contextual inquiry is focused around 4 key principles. Number 1, context. Interviews are conducted in the user's workplace, which affords an opportunity to experience typical working conditions, existing solutions, and, equally, a user's frustrations. Number 2, partnership. The researcher and user work together to understand the user's workflow and the tools they use. Number 3, interpretation. By sharing the researcher's observations and insights with the user, there is an opportunity for the user to clarify or extend the researcher's findings. And number 4, focus. The researcher is able to guide the user's interactions towards aspects that are relevant to the specific project's scope. There are many benefits to adopting this approach because users are observed and questioned in their own workplace. A contextual inquiry affords an opportunity to get a realistic view of users' needs and, equally, frustrations in a day-to-day context. And qualitative research method number 3, card sorting. Card sorting is a useful research method to establish information architecture, or IA for short. Deciding what goes where and ensuring your information groupings make sense to the widest possible audience. Card sorting is particularly useful if you're working with a group of stakeholders collectively. Card sorting involves writing words or phrases onto separate cards, hence the name, then asking your research participants to organize them. Take care to ensure your cards are shuffled so that you don't bias your users. Ask your users, individually or collectively, to organize them into logical groupings. Card sorting is relatively cheap. It can also be used as a helpful way to build consensus amongst stakeholders, asking them to, as a team, define groupings. By asking your users to name their groupings, you can discover words or synonyms that can be used for navigation labels. Although there are online tools that enable you to run card sorting exercises online, observing and listening to your users debate groupings can give you valuable insight to how users see logical groupings. Quantitative research. Quantitative research is primarily undertaken to test your assumptions. It's useful to help you shape your thinking and to establish ideas, which can then be built and tested using quantitative methods. Broadly speaking, quantitative methods are largely structured, tend to be objective, are at the harder, more measurable end of science, and are about testing theories. They tend to be larger sample sizes and can be run in a more hands-off manner. With quantitative research, user behaviors and attitudes are gathered indirectly. I'll be exploring 3 quantitative research methods in this article: surveys and questionnaires, analytics, and A/B testing. Quantitative research method number 1, surveys and questionnaires. Surveys and questionnaires are a powerful tool for gathering a high volume of opinions. However, they're generally run in a more hands-off manner. That doesn't mean they're not useful, but if possible, focus on interviews first. Surveys and questionnaires generally lack interaction between the interviewer and the interviewees, often being undertaken remotely. As such, it can be difficult to gain the insights possible when working directly with users and observing them. Often, it's what users do that's the most interesting discovery, not what they say. If you are undertaking a survey, it helps to incentivize in some way. You need to try and motivate as many users as possible to participate. Also, if it's possible and you're with the people you're surveying, paper-based surveys beat digital surveys every time. People have a tendency to forget to return to digital surveys, bookmarking them in their minds for later. Paper is more immediate, and as such leads to a greater return rate. Spend time on your interview questions and distill them down. It's better to ask fewer questions and increase the chance of returns than to ask endless, often irrelevant questions and lose participants through boredom. Lastly, the design of your survey is important and can improve completion rates. Typeform is a lovely tool that uses beautiful design to ensure even surveys are pleasurable. Quantitative research method number 2, analytics. We are fortunate now to have considerable quantities of data at our fingertips. Tools like Google Analytics, the most widely used web analytics service, let you measure website traffic and generate reports quickly and easily. Analytics, although occasionally a little overwhelming, are great for testing your assumptions. Drawn from data, analytics can be a persuasive tool when working with business executives who, more often than not, want to see things in black and white. Having easy access to numbers of unique visitors, page views, pages per visit, and other metrics allows you to test your thinking once you've implemented your design. After your qualitative research phase, analytics is a huge topic, and one which can be hard to grasp if data and statistics aren't your strong point. If you're looking for a concise overview, Neil O'Donoghue's Advanced User Research Techniques on Medium is a great place to start. And quantitative research method number 3, A/B testing. A/B testing is another useful tool to test out multiple ideas to see which ones work best. Essentially, a controlled experiment with 2 variants, A and B. This form of research allows you to test different designs' effectiveness against each other. As the name implies, 2 versions are compared, which are, more often than not, identical apart from a single variant that might or might not affect a user's behavior. A/B tests can be useful when testing assumptions informed by your qualitative findings. A/B testing doesn't just have to focus on visual design. It can focus on language too. For example, you might want to test a call to action button with 2 variants of copy. Start your free 30-day trial, or start my free 30-day trial. In this example, a test run by Unbounce, changing the CTA button copy from the second person, your, to the first person, my, resulted in a 90% lift in click-through rate. A/B testing works well when you have large sample sizes. With a lot of traffic to a website, or a large mailing list, you can be more confident that your findings are backed by a substantial quantity of data. Tips and techniques. As important as the research method you choose is also who you test your thinking on. It's helpful to use a screener to screen potential users before undertaking user research. Usability.gov have some excellent resources for this. When developing interview questions and surveys and questionnaires, it's important to consider both qualitative and quantitative questions. Both are important. Qualitative questions are open-ended. For example, how might you improve this customer journey? Quantitative questions, on the other hand, tend to be yes or no. Do you use this feature? When working with groups of research participants, it's important to be wary of the herd mentality. An opinionated focus group participant can influence a focus group if you're not careful. Build in systems that mitigate against this to ensure everyone has a voice. One tool that's useful to level the playing field is the KJ technique, which helps participants reach an objective group consensus. When choosing your research methods, it's important to use qualitative and quantitative methods hand in hand. Both have their place. Qualitative methods lead to insights, whereas quantitative methods allow you to test those insights. The tool you choose will be informed by what you are trying to achieve, but overall, ensure you're undertaking some user research to kick off the design process so that you're starting from an informed position. Analyzing research findings. Finally, it's important to put all of this research to good use. There's not much point in doing user research if we don't undertake some good old-fashioned analysis. With a number of research methods used, it's important to triangulate your findings, looking for correlations and patterns. Your aim is to see if any findings arise that are confirmed by your different research methods, so that you can implement these findings. Triangulation is the process of using multiple research points for multiple methods to increase your confidence in your research and assumptions. The more data points we use, the more confident we can be in our assumptions. This is why it's essential to, number 1, run different kinds of user tests to test different assumptions, and number 2, run these with multiple users. Different research methods have different strengths, leading themselves to different scenarios. Different users respond in different ways, offering different opinions. Ideally, you need a healthy mix of different research methods and different test subjects to cover all the bases. In short, your research findings are just the beginning of the story. With these findings in hand, it's important to triangulate the data and see what patterns emerge. With these patterns defined, you can embark your design and prototyping with better informed assumptions. In closing, design research is by no means a new phenomenon. As our discipline has matured, however, We've seen the importance of design research, and particularly user-centered research, grow in importance. The history of design research stretches back to the late 20th century when it was formalized. Bruce Archer, a professor of design research at the Royal College of Art in London, was a pioneer who championed research and design and helped to establish design as an academic discipline. As he summarized it, quote, "Design research is systematic inquiry," end quote. Archer trained a generation of design researchers at the Royal College. By stressing the need for well-founded evidence and systematic analysis, he helped to map over the principles of scholarly research, applying them to the field of design. Archer stressed the importance of method and rigor for findings to be documented so that they could, if necessary, be defended. This approach might sound commonplace to us today, but Archer's ideas were, in their time, radical and controversial, not least within an art school. Archer's work was essential. It established the need to approach design in a systematic manner, informed by the needs of users, identifying these needs through systematic inquiry. This understanding that design should be informed by user needs and that user research is a route towards understanding has changed user experience thinking for the better. Our goal, above all, is to inform the design process from the perspective of our users, not from the perspective of our assumptions. Seeing things through our users' eyes is the surest path to delivering a better and a more memorable experience, and user research is how we find that path. You just listened to the post titled, A Comprehensive Guide to UX Research, Part 2, by Christopher Murphy of Smashing Magazine. If you want to learn more about Christopher and read some of his other amazing design articles, just press the link in the show notes or head over to Smashing Magazine at smashingmagazine.com. Oh, and before you go, don't forget to check out the brand new Design Standup group on LinkedIn, where you can connect and learn from designers across the globe, chat about the latest episodes, and much more. You can find a link in the show notes below, or just search Design Standup on LinkedIn's website or app. Well, that's all I have for you today, guys. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, fill up those coffees, turn up those tunes, and let's design a better world.